General amnesty law will be debated in Venezuela National Assembly next week, despite prior threats from Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello that such amnesty law would never be discussed, as he was promising homeland, repression, and impunity forever. President Delcy Rodríguez, however, went to the Supreme Tribunal of Justice, and all powers, executive, legislative, judicial, and the Attorney General, were visibly thrilled with promoting and ensuring peace in Venezuela. It is becoming absolutely obvious that hardliners are isolated within the government, and as suggested by Donald Trump and Marco Rubio recent decisions, extremists are outnumbered in opposition as well. Conviviality in Venezuela will be soon reached. Opposition deputies at National Assembly will have the opportunity of asking for removal of law against hatred and law on terrorism, as they will argue that such laws are unfairly used against political prisoners at utter political discretionality. While Donald Trump indeed had a great spark on January 3rd by removing former President Maduro, more closely aligned with Minister Diosdado Cabello, and blocking all sorts of tangible progress on reconciliation, Delcy Rodríguez should also be given credit, as she has offered a month of January absolutely non-stop with good news and fast developments. Diosdado Cabello's face was utter despair. Venezuelans have been able to see a sudden metamorphosis from a strong man to defeated hardliner who will soon no longer have any bargaining chips in Venezuelan jails. President Delcy Rodríguez also offered to demolish Helicoide Torture Center, and she offered a personal experience coming from her father, who was actually detained and tortured at one of such prisons 5 decades ago. Application of justice must be processed more swiftly. The Supreme Tribunal of Justice was congratulated for increasing the speed in the Venezuelan judicial system in general, as many cases are placed on hold for too long, often during many years, even for crimes that only deserved sentences of a couple of years. Venezuelan judicial system has a history of people serving prison time during decades, and when the sentence comes, they have already served more than what they should be convicted for. Recent political prisoners that were excarcerated do not yet enjoy complete freedom, which has been a persistent request from opposition leaders. President Delcy Rodríguez requested National Assembly to discuss an amnesty law that will allow those recently excarcerated prisoners, as well as other political prisoners who remain in jails, to be completely freed. This sudden announcement took everyone by surprise, and Venezuela is now expecting a major change in civil rights, just as we are still digesting a major change in hydrocarbon business procedures. Presidents Donald Trump and Delcy Rodríguez individually spoke earlier with President of India Narendra Modi. Trump requested Modi to resume purchases of Venezuelan non-sanctioned oil as a replacement for Russian sanctioned oil. India has been a significant long-time Asian customer of Venezuelan crude exports, as India profited from deep discounts during the era when Venezuela used sanctioned tankers and shadow fleets. Venezuelan petroleum is now available worldwide at market prices. And then Delcy Rodríguez spoke to Modi. We must remember that when Delcy Rodríguez was vice president, she visited India several times. Delcy Rodríguez also visited Qatar as a stopover on her prior trips to India. So an assumption could be made that both India and Qatar have been long involved last year in Delcy Rodríguez preparations for treasoning former dictator Maduro. Delcy Rodríguez has chosen to betray a regime in order to gain clemency with her own constituents. Moderates of Venezuela on both sides of the aisle are certainly relieved on this unexpected positive turn on events. President Modi and President Rodríguez spoke about various business opportunities in energy, mining, and tourism industries. India is a founding member of the BRICS group of nations. However, this BRICS group of nations have not been particularly vocal since Donald Trump's ascent to power. It is premature to address whether Venezuela will finally be invited to join in. Foreign Minister of Venezuela again published a repetitive note on his disagreement on United States policy against Cuba, which is the same United States policy against Venezuela not too long ago. Cubans are in dire situation. Garbage is accumulating on streets. There is no gasoline for trash collecting service trucks. No gasoline for public transportation either. No food production. United States should consider effective regime change operations in Cuba in a manner similar as it was done in Venezuela before allowing more Cubans to starve or just give up into despair. When there is so much repression, people just do not have any energy to protest, especially as we know that protests are usually organized by non-profit organizations who actually make a profit. Protests are seldom spontaneous, and when protests indeed are spontaneous, they are localized at focal points. While Delcy Rodríguez claims that Venezuela can continue conducting business with all countries in the world, she knows very well that OFAC General License 46 explicitly prohibits Venezuelan petroleum trade with Cuba, North Korea, Iran, Russia, and China. While President Delcy Rodríguez summarily made a point on sovereignty and freedom of commerce, in the future she will have to point out with more precision how relations with those 5 sanctioned countries would become, as Venezuela is certainly not to challenge our new petroleum exporting conditions without sanctions, or at least with reduced sanctions. President Delcy Rodríguez is juggling with her old alliances. However, at some point she will need to effectively distance them, otherwise she will lose support of the United States, which would entail an immediate loss of power. Venezuela's interim government is protected by United States, as Venezuela's armed forces recently engaged in purchasing faulty equipment from sanctioned countries, and such equipment was unable to defend our land. Venezuela's military needs a serious restructuring. Venezuelan citizens right now see no need for Venezuelan military whatsoever, as it has been more interested in lucrative business deals on weapon purchases, repression to citizen protesters, and a wealth of checkpoints at Venezuela's roads, looking for excuses to bribe and extort weaponless citizens. Looking forward to liberations of political prisoners, Venezuelans have been offered general, wide-ranging amnesty. Only exceptions would be convicted criminals of homicide, drug trafficking, and severe human rights violations. Political differences shall be debated in a civilized manner. However, insults from radical opposition remain as an obstacle for effective economic growth and pursuit of peace.